and welcome to Mike Goes Live. I am here at an exciting 4 a.m. Hopefully I muted the other thing. Okay, I did. I don't like hearing myself 3 times. Oh, sorry, no. You got 3 times. So I can hear myself and I hear myself on the headphones, and then I also have the preview going. So yes, I did mute it. That was successful. And I'm here to talk about the GPD Win 4, but if you've watched any of my other live stream replays, and the reason I say replays is because it's 4 a.m. and I don't expect reasonable people to be watching at that hour. But if you catch any of my other replays, then you know that I like to start with talking about what's going on in the world of Mike, because this is like the only time that I really get to talk in long format on the channel. So I really enjoy talking and kind of, catching you up. So I got hooked on a game that I already beat on the PS5. And I was like, I don't like this game as much as the second one, which was it wasn't really a real sequel, because I'm talking about Spider-Man. Miles Morales it wasn't a full sequel, it was kind of like a side game. It was like a $40 game, but I bought original Spider-Man, so it was $40, and I was like, okay, cool. I really don't want to play it that much. My husband wanted to play it, and I was like, okay, cool. I already beat it on PS5 along with Miles Morales. And then, of course, I installed it on the Steam Deck, and then I got hooked all over again on Spider-Man. So I just been playing Spider-Man for some reason. And I was supposed to be finishing God of War, not that I'm in a rush, because I'm waiting for the PC version to come out, which the PS5 version hasn't come out, and I would expect probably like a year before that comes out. So, yeah. That's not coming anytime soon. I think my camera's crooked, too. Let me just do a little tilt. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I tilted that before. I think I did some adjustments, though, so I messed it up. But anyway, yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man. And yeah, it's been really fun. I forgot how much I just like going through and doing the little crimes and stuff. Even though they're repetitive, I like doing the crimes. I like getting the backpacks. I like activating the towers, which I've already activated all the towers. Anyway, I haven't even played that much of the story, to be honest. I've just been doing like the collectibles and the towers and that and the crimes and stuff, and taking pictures. That's the other thing. So that's been really fun. That's a game that runs great on the Steam Deck. Of course, today's video isn't going to be all about the Steam Deck. It's really going to be about the GPD Win 4. And the reason I decided to do this as a live thing is because I just kind of want to talk about the Win 4, as in just kind of go over my feelings about it. I didn't want it to be like a formatted thing. Because someone asked me in my Sunday video, I almost said Saturday, my news video, they asked me if I was getting the Win 4, because I've done a few videos about the Win 3, and then of course I did Steam Deck video and then the comparison video. So, and I think I mentioned the Win 4 in there, but I've been keeping my eye on it, and I kind of want to see how it shakes out. I did respond to the comment already, and that's basically what I said, but it does look like it's going to be a promising device. Like, I think it's overall going to be good based on the specs. I'm actually going to pull it up here really quick. So first of all, this is how it looks. And to me, looks wise, it's probably my favorite handheld. I haven't even got my hands on it, of course, but it's probably my favorite handheld because it reminds me of like the PSP/Vita. It has that design language. I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for, but it has that keyboard, and it's a real keyboard this time. The Win 3 had that flat keyboard that wasn't really good for typing at all because it was just a flat surface. There weren't any kind of bumps to distinguish between keys, so you couldn't really touch type on that thing. Well, you couldn't really type without looking because there's no separation between the keys. So it looks like this is like a real keyboard with keys that actually press in versus it just being a flat surface. It still has like the 6-inch screen, which I think is perfect. I like the smaller handhelds. I mentioned this before. That's why I think the GPD Win 3 is one of my favorite handhelds, even though overall I've been playing the Steam Deck more, and I've been using the Win 3 as more of a desktop, like a secondary desktop. But just overall, like form factor wise, I prefer the size of the Win 3. I like how comfortable the Steam Deck is, but the Win 3 was like, size wise would be perfect if it wasn't so heavy and it had better grips in the back. So going over the specs, of course, it's going to be running Windows 11. They actually list SteamOS, so technically you can install SteamOS up there, but at this point you can pretty much install it on anything. So But I'm pretty sure it's shipping with Windows 11. Obviously, they put the Steam OS up there because they're heavily competing with the Steam Deck. I don't know if you've heard this about GPD, but they, for some reason, putting themselves in direct competition with Steam Deck. But I'll touch on that later and why that's stupid. But yeah, so we got the 6-inch screen. That says native landscape mode. Not super important. It's really the only time that's really important is if you go to like reinstall Windows, because sometimes it'll those screens typically on the handhelds are technically portrait screens, and then they get switched to landscape in software. So I'm guessing this means that it's gonna be native right off the bat, like a landscape screen. So theoretically, if you uninstall Windows, it should still stay a landscape screen and not switch to portrait mode. Theoretically, I'm guessing that's what they mean. And then resolutions, we got 1080p and 720p, and then 40 and 60 hertz, which I think is cool. I'm glad that they kept the 720p. Obviously, 1080p is great, especially if you want to run emulators or some older games possibly at full resolution. But I think for AAA games, I'll probably, well, it depends on the game. But like for certain games that are harder to run, I would probably prefer to run them at 720p. So it's good that it does 720p natively. But I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem because it's running this Ryzen 7 6800U, and I've already seen some videos of the Neo 2 that I believe runs the same chip, and it seems really powerful. So I'm excited that it's going to be getting this chip. So that's up to 28 watt TDP, 4.7 gigahertz. And yeah, I'm glad that they're getting away from those Intel's horrible graphics drivers, because that really got on my nerves. Like when you knew it could run the game, but the drivers were so bad that it just didn't work. And it didn't happen like super often, but it happened often enough that I was annoyed by it. So I'm glad they went AMD this time. And yeah, it's going to support HDMI 2.1, obviously through the USB-C port, because it supports USB 4. So it's going to do LPDDR5 RAM, so faster RAM, and you can do 16 or 32 gigs, which is kind of cool. I probably, if I do get this, I'm probably gonna go 32 just to be a little bit future proof, because it seems like that's where we're heading as far as gaming starting to require more RAM. So I'll probably just be going 32 at this point. Of course, you can get the M.2, either a 1 2 gig, or set 1 or 2 gig. That'd be horrible. 1 or 2 terabyte. And yeah, I mean, those are the base specs. The other thing that's cool about it is it's going to have an optional module for 4G LTE. So let's scroll down to, or at least it's the tech specs. Yeah, these are just the tech specs page. Let me go back to the main page where it has like more of the pictures of the thing. Okay. So this is the one thing that I'm worried about. So the sensor is good because this basically guarantees that there probably won't be any strict stick drift because it's using Hall sensors. But the construction of the joystick looks the same. And that's what I'm worried about. Why did this page just change colors? Oh, I think it's because I scrolled down too much. The light change threw me off. But yeah, the construction of the joystick looks the same. And my biggest issue with the first one was the fact that the joysticks fell off all the time. It is good that they're going to have dual USB-C ports, and this is the module that slaps on the back for the LTE module. So I'm guessing that's probably going to plug into one of the USB-C ports. It does look like it blocks the airflow a little bit, so I wonder how that is. But I think it's cool that you finally have the option to do LTE on this thing, because it really is more of a computer than something like the Steam Deck or even the Neo, because it has that keyboard. Like I said, the one thing I liked about the Win 3 was the fact that it felt like a full computer that I could just use right out of the gate. And this does feel a lot more like a computer versus just a handheld. It was a really versatile machine, which is why I like it so much. So you got that optional module. You got Wi-Fi 6. I believe the Win 3 had Wi-Fi 6 as well, so that's not anything new. But yeah, and that's kind of it on the dock with the module in the back. This looks like the same dock, or very similar. It's not the same, I can tell because of the bottom here. So it's not exactly the same, but it has a little indent for the the module if you have it attached for the LTE module. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So have they thrown shade at the Steam Deck yet? They definitely throw shade on this page. Yeah, but yeah, USB 4 still allows you to use an eGPU, which is really exciting. So here's some benchmarks, blah, blah, blah. This is approximating for a 1060. I like this white color a lot too. Oh, and it still has those back buttons. It looks like maybe it has a little bit more of a grip than the last one. So hopefully they accommodated for that. It also looks like the side where the LTE module goes on, there's actually not any vents there. It's just kind of like the cutouts for the vents, or like it's indented, like there's supposed to be vents there. So I'm guessing that they obviously, maybe they changed that at some point during the design process when they decided to do that add-on module. But it's good that's not actually blocking any vents. So this is what really reminds me of the PSP. Let me switch back really quick and grab my PSP wherever I put it. Where did I put that thing at? I literally just had, oh, here it is. So with the PSP, it has those triggers. If it's not upside down, it has those clear triggers. As you can see here, let's test this autofocus to see how bad it is. It's terrible. There it goes. It finally focused. It did it. This thing is dirty. It needs to be cleaned. I was actually probably going to do a video next week on the PSP, kind of revisit it, play a little bit of Crisis Core up here, because it's about to re-release next month, which I'm super excited about. I never thought this game would make it off the PSP. But yeah, it really reminds me of this design of the PSP. This is actually PSP 2000, so not the original PSP, but the design language is definitely there, especially when we switch back to this. So that's why I'm excited about it. The PSP was probably one of my favorite handhelds. It was my first handheld where I was like, yo, this is dope. Especially back at the time it came out. We weren't getting anything like that from Nintendo, graphics wise, like anything real 3D, like that was competing with, like, PS2 and all that stuff. Even though, I mean, it came out during the like 360 era, but still, it was impressive for the time. Yeah, we still got a gyroscope, 6-axis gyroscope. There's that keyboard we were talking about earlier. And there's the vent, so yeah, it's only sucking in air from that side, which is good. So you're not blocking the vent with that module. You got a fingerprint sensor, and then they show off an eGPU. So yeah, I think maybe I mentally blocked it out, but I know they mentioned the Steam Deck a few times. Maybe it was mainly on the tech specs page, but they were drawing a lot of comparisons between themselves and the Steam Deck, and I just feel like it's unnecessary. Like, we know this thing is probably going to be like $1,100 or something, and it is going to be better than the Steam Deck. I already know it's better than the Steam Deck because it's got that new Ryzen APU, so I've already seen what it can do. Yeah, it's more powerful than the Steam Deck. Yeah, this is definitely, see, they're like, oh, look how big that is. And then they got Mario. Why do they have Mario up here? Please don't draw the ire of Nintendo. I can't say I like the company. I don't really know that much about GPD. They seem kind of shady, but they seem a little bit shady, but I like their devices. And I typically care about that more unless the company does something that's so egregious that I'm like, yo, I can't deal with them anymore. But I don't think that they need to be making. Oh yeah, here it is. Better than Steam Deck. That's what I was looking for. Why? Yeah, it's gonna be more powerful than the Steam Deck. Sure, but if someone's more budget oriented, even if this thing outperforms the Steam Deck, which it definitely will, and it has eGPU, it has LTE. There's a lot of stuff that's on paper that's gonna be better than the Steam Deck. But we all know it's gonna be a lot more expensive. So I wouldn't even make that comparison. Just focus on being the most powerful handheld in this small form factor, which is true, and it's offering a lot of features that the competitors are offering. I think the INEO is cool, but like I said, the GPD win, I don't know why. I think someone in my comments of the comparison video said it. The win just seems cooler, and I somewhat agree. As much as I like the Steam Deck, and overall, my mind is a better handheld. Yes, I play it more. But as far as the cool factor, I got to give it to the win. It's just a cool handheld, and I don't think they need to make the comparison to the Steam Deck. It's just not necessary. Um, so this is gonna be on Indiegogo at the end of the month. So they have a preview page up already. So I'm curious what the prices are gonna be, but I don't think I'm not gonna pre-order it. I don't know if I'm gonna get it at all, to be honest, because everything I buy for the channel is just, well, I don't really buy stuff for the channel. I buy stuff that I'm going to use, and I already have a Steam Deck and a Win 3. If I got this, to be honest, I probably would just get rid of both of them, because this would pretty much do all the stuff that I needed to do, especially if I can run SteamOS as well, and then I would still have full fat Windows for my Game Pass stuff. I would have more storage than on the Steam Deck, and I could still use my micro SD card. So yeah, there'd just be a lot of stuff that it would pretty much do everything I needed to do, and it'd be more powerful than the Steam Deck, especially because I can also run it at 720p. Yeah, this has some examples of AAA games that you can run and the expected frame rates. So the interesting thing that I thought was like they had God of War at 45 to 60 frames per second, which is funny, and it's also on low because I run it on the Steam Deck on medium at 720p, and this is usually what I get. Or usually around 45. I don't ever get up to 60, but that's what I'm saying. Like a game like this, I would probably bump it up to like the original preset and then lower it to 720p and play it that way. And that with FSR, you probably get way better performance. Elden Ring apparently is like 60 to 65. These seem like reasonable, realistic frame rates. Forza Horizon 5 on low is 100 to 125 because that APU is powerful. And I saw, I think it was ETA Prime that did the video on the INEO 2, and it seemed like this was around what he was getting in some of these games from what I saw. So this seems realistic. So I don't doubt that the performance is going to be there, but I do like the fact that it's native 720p because sometimes if it doesn't run that resolution natively, it just looks bad. Like if I have like a 1440p monitor and I go down to 1080p, it just looks bad. But on the screen that's small, I think it'll look fine. And I would also be, like I said, fine at running at 720p. And some of these games where it's like that God of War, if I can get a stable 60, then I'll definitely take 720. As far as that example, but yeah, I don't plan on doing the Indiegogo. Upon researching it, because I did do a video about the whole GPD versus Steam Deck thing, where they did this long post on Reddit, and someone translated about how Valve was evil. It was just a bunch of unnecessary drama, and it still really seems like they're really going for the Steam Deck. And I'm like, your real competition is something like the INEO that's in the same price range. Like the Steam Deck, if you compete with the Steam Deck, unless you're gonna go down in price to a price that makes sense. Like if this was, it depends on what it launches at. If this is like $300 more than the Steam Deck, even the base spec would be worth it because you're getting double the storage right off the bat. The lowest storage on here is 1 TB. And then, I have the option for LTE and USB 4. Then, yeah, that's a $300 upgrade. Yeah, that makes sense. But if you're going to be like $1,200 again, then why are we even trying to have this conversation? That's what I'm saying about this whole thing. It doesn't make any sense because value standpoint, $400 Steam Deck versus $1,200 this, if that's what the price is going to be, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah. But go back to the story. But yeah, upon researching for that video about their stuff with GPD and then just the comments as well, it seems like there were quality issues that weren't addressed in the greatest way with the people who backed the GPD Win 3. Some of them getting like the wrong Wi-Fi module, the stick issue that I experienced as well. So I just wouldn't want to be an early adopter of this thing. Like I mentioned when I responded to that person in the comments that asked me about it recently, would have to wait to see how it shakes out. Because if this is going to have a bunch of quality issues and it's going to be expensive, I'll just stick to what I have now, and that'll be it. To be realistically, I probably wouldn't get rid of the Steam Deck if I got this. I'd probably get rid of the Win 3. The Steam Deck can go to Jeff because he can. I think he'll be more apt to want to play the Steam Deck. He didn't like the Win 3. I don't know why, but he didn't want to use the Win 3 because originally I was going to give that to him. So now I'm just using it as a secondary device. But I think the Steam Deck, especially with him like wanting to play his emulated Pokemon games and stuff like that, or DS games, or whatever other emulated games he wants to play up there, then he would probably like that because he could play it wherever. Because right, he's been playing a lot of like the older Pokemon games on emulator on his computer, and I was like, why don't you play on the Win 3? And he was like, oh, I'm going to, and it just never does. So I think I think if I gave him the Steam Deck, he'd probably use it. So yeah, it's a tough decision. I'm excited for this though. I'm excited for this. I'm not excited for their marketing. Like, that's not exciting. As far as the Steam Deck comparisons, that is. It looks so cool. It looks cool. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really excited for it. Yeah, it even has the little keychain. It's definitely trying to be a PSP. It has the keychain loop. They put the keychain loop in there. Yeah, you can tell where their design inspiration was from. But yeah, that's it. This is supposed to go live towards the end of the month. I will check back to see how much it is. I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't know if I want to back it. We'll see. It depends on how much it is. Because if it's like $800 and I get one, then I might have to do that. But if it's like $1,200, I'm like, nah, I'll wait. We'll see. But there's something I am definitely getting, and that is going to be an RTX 3080. I already have a 3080, a 4080. So this was random. This was not planned. I was actually meaning to talk about this at the beginning of the video, then I ended up transitioning into the Win 3. But it's fine. So Jeff upgraded his computer recently, and he was using my old 2080 Ti. If you saw that video or the multiple videos I did on it where I modded it, not modded it, I just basically replaced the cooler. It's kind of a mod. I did the NZXT Kraken kit, and I just replaced it, the regular cooler with the water cooler, and then the RAM overheated, so I had to have a fan under there. So when I upgraded to my 3080, I gave him that card because he had a 1080 Ti. So it was a 2080 Ti. So it's still a lot better, but it's an annoying card to deal with. So recently he upgraded. He got a new processor. He was still rocking the Intel 8th Gen i7, so he went to the 13th Gen i7 with DDR5 RAM, the whole shebang bang. Everything's pretty much new in the computer now, except for the GPU. And then he was like, oh, I kind of want a new graphics card. And I was like, oh. And look, I edit videos. I need the graphical power. So when it came to doing the upgrade, I was actually looking at 3090s because for a while they were pretty cheap. They were around $800 to $900, and then of course once the 4090 dropped, and then those all sold out, then they decided to raise the 3090 back up because the 4080 is coming out soon. And that's probably gonna have comparable performance. So I had been looking. I was looking at EVGA's midweek madness because they always have their sale on Wednesdays, and I was thinking about it, and also they're not making graphics cards anymore, so they're kind of blowing out their inventory. So I just am kind of keeping an eye out for good GPU deals in general from them. I did miss out on a water cooled 4090 for $850. And I was like so close to buying it, and then at the last minute I was like, nah. And then I kind of regretted not buying that. So funny enough was like I was looking at it, and the only 4090 they had was like 1160, and I was like, the 4080 is supposed to be 1200. And we don't know what performance looks like right now. So I don't even recommend people doing this. But I went to Google when the 4080 comes out because I couldn't remember. And so I Google it, and the first thing that pops up is a listing on Office Depot. And they had the PMY 4080 listed for 1200. And it was just in stock, chilling. And it comes out the 15th. And so this was yesterday. So I was like, I was just chilling here. Like, this is just available. I mean, and it made sense. It said it shipped in 5 to 7 days. It said it'll be here like the 18th. So I was like, okay, obviously it's going to come after release date. So yeah, I just ended up buying it because I was like, I kind of want the 4080, even though I'm guessing the performance is going to be probably better than the 4090. I mean, 3090. I might be wrong, but it will probably at least be close, if not better. At $1,200, it better be because, I mean, it's up there in price. So I did order a 4080. I can still cancel it, but I feel like the embargo for the reviews are not even going to lift until the 15th. And then it might ship, and I might be mad. Yeah, so I'm getting a 4080. I don't know if I'm going to do any content on it or not. I don't like doing a lot of PC stuff anymore because usually I do stupid things in the video, like put the graphics card in the wrong slot and stuff like that. I put the RAM in the wrong slots. My early computer video stuff on YouTube was a mess. And it's not like I would probably do that stuff anymore because I've been, it was just mistakes that I made because I was being impatient with building the computer and like building the computer on camera, even if you're not live, is annoying because you have to try to get the angles. It's hard to build something and then try to get an angle where people can see it. And it gets so frustrating, especially if like you're recording for hours and you just, well, at least I started making mistakes and then I didn't even catch it in the video because I was like, oh, I gotta get this video done. Then I gotta edit it. That's gonna be like another 2 or 3 hours and get it out there. So there was like dumb mistakes I used to make and in the video, in those videos. So I'm only doing a bunch of PC stuff, and I don't like particularly doing benchmarks. I talk about performance, and then I'll talk about the frame rates, but I don't like having the charts, and I don't know. And I'm not against it. That's fine. I watch those channels, but there's plenty of those channels that do charts and benchmarks, and I think for me, I don't. A part of me doesn't like it because it's like when we're comparing. Like they're comparing like last generation with this generation, right? Like let's say if you're on, like for me, if I'm on the 3080 and like they're comparing to the 4090, and then the bar graph, or like the 4090, the 4080, right? Let's say when that review comes out, the bar graph is like the bar is like this much higher, but this much higher could be like 15 FPS in the game. And realistically, unless you're like on the bleeding edge of like unplayable, it's not gonna make that much of a difference. And I think it's not misleading, but I think just looking at that can kind of make something seem a little bit more exciting than it actually is. Like it makes it like a bigger deal. So that's why I don't like to have this like a bunch of graphs and stuff and related to performance. In the videos, I like to talk about the performance more because I think, and I'll say what the FPS is, but I think I kind of explaining it and then explaining how the game actually feels to me is more effective because like I said, if you want those videos, you have excellent videos like from Gamers Nexus that really like. I love watching Gamers Nexus. Like if I want to watch for that stuff, I'm watching the Gamers Nexus video because you're not watching that to get excited or hyped about the performance. You're watching it to get the real performance. Like if you're on the real performance, Gamers Nexus is who I'm watching. Like those graphs, like you're gonna see the power curves, all the stuff. If you make it through that video, you were a dedicated techie. Like I remember, the funny thing is when my husband was looking for his CPU, the first video I sent him was Gamers Nexus because it was a similar situation to where I'm in now with the 4080. Like he wanted to get one of the new processors. It was right when Ryzen just dropped their new processors, and then the 13th series still had like a few more days left. And I was like, wait for the 13th series review. But I was like, if you want to get an idea of what the Ryzen processors are like in comparison to Intel 12th gen, I was like, you can watch this video from Gamers Nexus. It's only like 30 minutes. I think he got to like 10 minutes before he got bored. And I was like, I don't think you really built for this life. So I sent him the Linus Tech Tips review because, they'll kind of do like the little 10-minute video with, they'll have some graphs and stuff in it. And it's good, but me, I like the Gamers Nexus review if I'm really like wanting to know about something because I know that they're going to be objective. Not that other places aren't objective because I trust like Linus Tech Tips and those other channels and Jay's 2 cents and stuff like that too. But if I want that in depth, that's what I'm looking at. So, uh, but yeah, overall, I think there effective ways to use it. I really like the way that Gamers Nexus uses it, but like sometimes if I watch other videos, that I'm just like, "Ugh, these charts are just they're not misleading because they'll tell you what the performance is, but like looking at the charts, like I said, it makes it seem like it's a bigger deal than what it is. And I get like 15 frames can be a lot. That can be a high percentage, but it's still like if I get this card like and I go from like 60 to 75 frames, I'm probably not gonna be like blown away by it, you know. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do any content on it. I don't even think I don't even see a point in doing an unboxing video really as a graphics card. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I get it, I might still cancel it. Depending on what happens. Especially if I find a good deal on the 3090, I'll definitely cancel it. But yeah, that's what's been going on. So as for right now, I am probably maybe on the fence about getting the Win 4. We'll have to see. I'm most likely getting a 4080. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here for tonight. I want to thank everyone for watching me live. I'm just kidding. I know. Look, at some point, I'm not gonna work nights anymore. When I started this channel, we're about to go into year 4. It's only this last year I've been nights. So once I get back on a morning schedule, I will have live streams at reasonable times. But until then, we gotta deal with these midnight streams, these 4 a.m. streams. But I'm getting out of here. You guys, peoples, I don't want to say guys. It's include guys. For me, when I say guys, it includes everybody. It's all inclusive. It's all inclusive. So you guys have a great rest of your night or morning or whatever it is that you're watching this replay. I'm hitting the outro button. I forgot how long it is till the music kicks in. I'm going to bed or something like the thing says at the bottom. So peace out.